Peace is not when you have everything. It's when you have the courage to let go. Life is noisy, full of endless control, expectations, and the silent weight of what we think we must hold on to. Every day we tighten our grip on people, plans, and even our pain, afraid that letting go means losing control. Have you ever noticed how heavy life feels when you try to control everything? The more we hold on, the tighter we grip, the more peace slips through our fingers. In this world full of noise, expectations, and endless shoulds, we forget the simplest truth. We're carrying too much. Peace doesn't come from fixing or controlling every detail. It comes the moment you loosen your grip, breathe, and whisper to yourself, "It's okay to let go." As the Buddha said, "You only lose what you cling to." Those few words hold a profound truth. What we cling to is what chains us. It could be a memory, a person, an identity, or even an idea of who we should be. The tighter we hold, the more we suffer, because life is not meant to be gripped. It's meant to be lived, moment by moment. Letting go doesn't mean giving up. It's wisdom, the quiet knowing that not everything is meant to stay. Sometimes what we lose is simply what was never truly ours to begin with. Think of the trees in autumn. They don't fight to keep their leaves. They release them gracefully, knowing spring will come again. When you stop forcing life to fit your plans, something magical happens. Space opens up inside you. Space for calm, for clarity, for love. That's when peace finds its way back. Not because you chased it, but because you made room for it. Modern life teaches us to chase control, perfection, and certainty. But Zen wisdom invites us to pause, to see that control is just another illusion of the restless mind. You can't hold the wind in your hands, and you can't force life to move only your way. So ask yourself right now, what are you still holding on to that no longer serves you? Maybe it's a fear of being alone, the regret of the past, or the need to always be right. Whatever it is, imagine setting it down. Just for a moment. Feel how light your heart becomes. Letting go is not the end of your story. It's the beginning of your peace. It's the return to yourself, the self that doesn't need to prove, to cling, or to control. It's where true happiness quietly begins. We often believe that the more we control, the safer we are. We want to plan every outcome, shape every moment, and make sure everything goes our way, as if certainty could protect us from pain. But life doesn't follow our blueprints. It moves like the wind, changes like the seasons, and laughs at our attempts to hold it still. So today we'll move into the first part of our video, letting go of control, trusting the flow of life. Control feels powerful, but it's often an illusion. We try to control how others see us, how love unfolds, how time treats us. Yet the more we grasp, the tighter the tension becomes, until our heart can barely breathe. The Buddha taught anicca, impermanence. Everything changes: people, feelings, situations, even the beliefs we once thought unshakable. When we resist this truth, we suffer. Letting go of control doesn't mean giving up. It means learning to trust. Trust that life has its own intelligence, a rhythm wiser than our plans. It means softening, not surrendering, moving with the current, not against it. Imagine a river. It doesn't fight the rocks in its way. It flows around them, slowly shaping them, eventually finding the ocean. The river never asks, "Why is this stone here?" It simply moves, gentle but unstoppable. When we live like the river, we stop wasting energy on trying to control what's beyond us and begin to discover a quiet strength, the kind that grows from acceptance. In truth, peace begins where control ends. The moment we release the need to predict and manage everything, a space opens inside us, calm, wide, and free. From that space, we can act with clarity, love, and wisdom, instead of fear and resistance. Life doesn't need us to push it forward. It only asks that we flow with it. When you stop holding the reins so tightly, you realize life has been carrying you all along. When we finally loosen our grip on control, something beautiful begins to happen. Silence. In that stillness, we start to notice another weight we've been carrying all along, the past. And so we move into the next part of today's journey, Releasing the past, when you stop carrying what's no longer here. The past is like a shadow, always behind us, always following, yet never truly here. We drag along old mistakes, heartbreaks, and memories that once defined us, believing that by holding on to them, we can somehow make peace with them. But the truth is, no matter how many times we replay the memory, it never changes. The only thing that changes is the way it keeps us trapped. Mindfulness teaches us to return, again and again, to this very breath, this very moment, because life doesn't live in what was, it breathes in what is. Letting go of the past doesn't mean erasing it. It means no longer allowing it to define who we are now. Forgiveness, then, is not about saying, it's okay that it happened. It's whispering to yourself, I deserve peace more than I deserve pain. Imagine carrying a heavy backpack through a long journey. Inside it are stones, each one a regret, a memory, a mistake. You've carried it for so long that you forget it's even there. Then one day you stop, you open it, you see how heavy it truly is. And slowly, one by one, you start taking the stones out. That's forgiveness. That's letting go. It's not about pretending the stones never existed. It's about realizing you no longer need to carry them to move forward. Buddhist wisdom reminds us that clinging to the past is like holding on to ashes. The fire is already gone, yet we still burn our hands trying to grasp what's no longer alive. When we release the past, something opens inside. A lightness, a breath, a space for joy to enter again. The heart softens, the eyes see clearer. The present moment, once blurry from old pain, becomes vivid again. So take a deep breath. You don't have to fix the past to be free from it. You only need to release it with compassion, with patience, and with understanding that the person you were is not the person you are now. Let the past rest where it belongs, behind you, and walk forward, lighter, toward the peace that's been waiting for you all along. Sometimes after learning to release control in the past, we feel lighter. Yet still, there's something subtle that keeps us from true freedom. It's not others, not circumstances, but something within. It's the quiet voice whispering, I must be right. I must be seen. I must prove my worth. That is the voice of the ego, and that is where our next step unfolds. We will now move to the next part of today's video, letting go of the ego, because the ego builds walls. The ego is not evil. It is a creation of the mind meant to protect us, a mask we wear to navigate the world. But when the mask becomes our identity, we forget the face beneath it. The I we defend so fiercely is often a fragile illusion made of fears and desires. It says, I am right, I am special, I must win. Yet behind these declarations lies a deep fear of being forgotten, of not being enough. In Buddhist wisdom, the concept of anatta, non-self, teaches that this I is not a fixed entity. It is a flowing process, constantly changing like the river's current. Who we were yesterday is not who we are today, and who we will become tomorrow is not bound by this moment. The ego resists this truth, for it wants certainty, importance, and permanence. But life itself is impermanent. To cling to a self-image is to fight the nature of existence. Imagine the ego as a fortress we build around our heart. The walls are made of pride, fear, and comparison. We construct them to feel safe, to keep pain out. But over time, they keep love out as well. The thicker the walls, the lonelier we become. To let go of ego is to open the gate, to let life touch us again. It doesn't mean we erase ourselves. It means we remember our true nature, open, compassionate, connected. When we soften the ego, humility arises naturally. We no longer need to prove, we begin to be. In that gentle being, kindness grows. We start to see others not as rivals or threats, but as mirrors, reflections of the same longing for peace. Every act of understanding dissolves another brick in the wall. Every moment of compassion widens the space within us where stillness can breathe. Letting go of ego is not about losing your individuality. It's about finding your essence beneath all the roles you play. You are not your job, your title, your success, or your pain. You are the awareness witnessing all of these, vast, luminous, and free. When this realization dawns, comparison fades, and the need to control others vanishes. Think of the sky, vast, boundless, untouched by the clouds that pass through it. The ego is the cloud. You are the sky. No matter how dense the clouds become, the sky remains pure. When you let go of identifying with the clouds, peace naturally returns. This letting go brings a profound inner silence, not empty, but full of presence. You no longer live in constant defense. You live in openness. And in that openness, life flows through you effortlessly. That is the true strength of one who has transcended the ego. Soft yet unshakable, humble yet radiant. So breathe and ask yourself, what if I stopped defending who I think I am and simply allowed myself to be? You might discover that beneath the layers of I, me, and mine, there is a vast stillness, your true home, where peace has always been waiting. We often cling to people, possessions, achievements, and outcomes, believing that in holding them tight, we will feel safe, secure, or whole. But the truth is far gentler and far more freeing. What we cling to begins to cling to us. It shapes our emotions, our decisions, and even our sense of self. Attachment, tanha, the thirst, is not love. It is craving, the endless grasping for permanence in a world that is always changing. When we attach, we make our peace conditional. I'll be happy when they love me. I'll feel secure when I succeed. But the moment we place our happiness in the hands of something impermanent, suffering begins. Because people change, circumstances shift. Nothing, no matter how beautiful, lasts forever. The Buddha called this the root of dukkha, or human dissatisfaction, our refusal to let things flow as they naturally are. Letting go of attachment doesn't mean becoming cold, distant, or careless. It means loving with open hands, not clenched fists. To love without attachment is to say, I see you, I cherish you, and I give you the freedom to be who you are. It's to honor connection without control. It's to enjoy without fear of losing. Imagine holding a bird in your hands. If you grip too tightly, you harm it. If you hold gently, it rests, sings, and may even return after flying away. That is the essence of mindful love. To allow life to breathe, to allow people and experiences to come and go without imprisoning them in your expectations. Attachment often grows from fear of loss, loneliness, or not being enough. We think that by holding on, we can prevent pain. But paradoxically, it is the holding that creates pain. The moment we release, we discover that nothing essential was ever truly lost. The peace we sought outside had always been within us, waiting patiently beneath the noise of clinging. Freedom begins when we no longer tie our happiness to anything external. When the heart no longer depends on conditions, it becomes unshakable. The wind may blow, the seasons may change, but your inner calm remains steady like a mountain. Letting go is not weakness. It is courage. The courage to trust life's flow, to believe that what is meant for you will stay, and what leaves was never truly yours to begin with. Every time you release something, a memory, a fear, a person, you make space for peace to enter. You begin to live not from need, but from fullness. So breathe deeply. Feel the weight you've been carrying, the names, the faces, the expectations. With each exhale, loosen your grip a little more. Let the river of life carry what no longer serves you. Because when you stop clinging, you don't lose the world. You gain yourself. To let go is to come home, to the simple, open stillness of being. That is where true peace lives, quietly beyond possession and loss. After learning to release control, the past, ego, and attachment, we now approach one of the most subtle yet powerful sources of suffering, expectation. It hides in our every thought, every hope, every dream we unconsciously script for ourselves and for others. And so, we'll now move to the next part of today's video. Letting go of expectation, because expectation is the root of suffering. Most of us tie our happiness to invisible agreements we never spoke out loud, silent contracts with life and with people. They should understand me. Life should go this way. If I try hard enough, things will work out exactly as I want. Yet reality has its own rhythm, indifferent to our blueprints. And when it doesn't follow the story we've written, we suffer. Not because life betrayed us, but because we confused imagination with truth. Expectation is attachment disguised as certainty. It whispers, if things go my way, I'll be okay. But true peace begins when we stop demanding that life must look a certain way for us to feel safe. Because the world was never meant to bend to our will. It was meant to teach us to flow. Letting go of expectation doesn't mean giving up. It means acting with sincerity, with love, and with presence, but without clinging to results. You still give your best, but your peace no longer depends on the outcome. The Buddha taught, do your work with a heart free from attachment to results. When you embody that, your actions become offerings, not transactions. You give, not to get something back, but because giving itself is joy. Think of a gardener planting seeds. She waters, tends, and nourishes them, but she doesn't pull them up every morning to check if they've grown. She trusts the process. That's what releasing expectation feels like. A deep trust that what's meant to bloom will bloom in its own time. In relationships, expectations often build invisible prisons. We want others to behave, respond, or love in certain ways. When they don't, we feel disappointed, as if they've broken an unspoken promise. But love that depends on compliance is not love. It's control dressed as care. Real love gives freedom. It says, you don't have to be what I expect. Just be who you are. Only then can love breathe. And it's not just about others. The most painful expectations are often those we hold against ourselves. I should be more successful by now. I shouldn't feel this way. I must always be strong. But the truth is, growth isn't linear, and imperfection isn't failure. The flower doesn't rush its blooming, neither should you. Letting go of self-expectation is an act of compassion, to see yourself not as a project to fix, but as a being unfolding naturally in time. Freedom comes when we release the pressure to make life match our script. When we drop expectation, what's left is pure presence, the ability to experience this moment without measuring it against what should have been. And in that presence, peace quietly returns. So take a breath. Feel the soft ache of all the expectations you've carried, the ones about love, success, others, and yourself. As you exhale, let them drift away like clouds. The sky behind them, vast, open, infinite, is your true nature. That's where happiness was waiting all along, unconditioned and free. To let go of expectation is to rediscover life as it is, imperfect, unpredictable, and profoundly enough. After learning to release expectations, another subtle attachment often remains, the need to be understood. It hides behind our words, our reactions, our silence. We all long for others to truly see us, to recognize our intentions, to validate our truth. Yet as we go deeper into this path of inner freedom, we realize the truth does not need to be defended. And so, we now move to the next part of today's video, letting go of the need to be understood, because truth needs no defense. From childhood, we've been conditioned to seek understanding. We explain ourselves, justify our actions, and strive to make others agree with how we see the world. We believe that if people finally understand us, we'll feel safe and seen. But in reality, this longing becomes another chain. Because the truth is, you can't control how others perceive you. Their understanding is filtered through their experiences, fears, and expectations. What they see in you often reflects who they are, not who you are. When we depend on being understood, we hand our peace over to others' opinions. If they praise us, we rise. If they criticize, we collapse. Our mood becomes a mirror of their judgments. The Buddha taught that true freedom comes from upekkha, equanimity, the calm balance that doesn't sway with praise or blame. It is the strength of still water, clear, unmoved, reflecting everything without clinging to anything. Letting go of the need to be understood doesn't mean closing your heart. It means trusting that your worth isn't defined by anyone's perception. It's remembering that inner truth doesn't require witnesses. The sun doesn't argue to prove it shines. It simply shines. There's profound peace in that simplicity. When you stop defending who you are, you start being who you are. You no longer waste energy crafting explanations or convincing others of your intentions. You speak your truth gently, then rest in silence, knowing that real understanding often blooms in time, and sometimes never at all. Imagine standing in front of a calm lake. When you throw stones of justification and argument, the water ripples and distorts your reflection. But when you stand still, the surface clears and your true image appears. That is the essence of inner peace, not in winning arguments, but in embodying truth so deeply that words become unnecessary. In moments when you feel misunderstood, breathe. Feel the urge to defend, to prove, to explain, then let it soften. Ask yourself, what part of me is afraid right now? Often it's the part that still seeks approval, the child inside who equated understanding with love. But you've grown. You can offer yourself that love now, unconditionally, quietly, completely. Sometimes silence speaks louder than 1,000 words. Not the silence of retreat, but of wisdom. When you know your intentions are pure, you don't need to shout them into the world. You live them and let your presence speak for you. People may misunderstand your choices today, but time and your peace will reveal the truth more clearly than any explanation ever could. Freedom begins where the need to be understood ends, because in that space, your heart is no longer at war with opinion. You move from reacting to being, from defending to resting, from explaining to living. So, take a deep breath. Remember, you are not here to be understood by everyone. You are here to understand yourself. And when that happens, others' understanding becomes irrelevant. The truth doesn't demand recognition. It simply is. And in that quiet knowing, you find peace. After learning to release the need to be understood, we come to one of the most subtle illusions of all, the illusion of someday. That gentle whisper in the mind that says, I'll be happy when I get that job, when I earn more money, when I find the right person, when I finally have time to rest. It feels comforting, like a promise from the future. But it's a promise that never truly arrives, because once someday comes, the mind quietly creates another when. And so, we now move to the next part of our journey. Letting go of the illusion of someday, because only the present is real. This illusion keeps us chasing mirages. The mind, always craving security, projects happiness into the future, a place it can never reach. Even when we achieve what we once longed for, satisfaction fades, replaced by a new goal, a new condition for happiness. It's an endless cycle that keeps peace just one step away. Buddha taught that life exists only in the now. The past is a memory, the future, a projection. The present moment is the only reality we can touch. Yet we spend most of our days lost in stories, replaying what happened or anticipating what might come. We forget that this breath, this heartbeat, this awareness is life itself. The truth is, you don't have to wait to be happy. Happiness doesn't begin when things change. It begins when you change, when you choose to be fully present, when you let go of resistance and open yourself to the miracle of now. Think about it. When you were younger, didn't you imagine happiness would arrive when you grew up, finished school, or reached your dream? Then adulthood came, and you found new some days. It's the same game, just with different prizes. The illusion moves, but you remain the same. Always reaching, never arriving. But peace is not something you chase, it's something you return to. It's been within you all along, waiting under the noise of not yet. When you breathe deeply and anchor yourself in this moment, the need for more begins to dissolve. Try this practice. Whenever your mind says, I'll be happy when, gently ask, why not now? Why not feel grateful now for the breath in your lungs, the light on your face, the people who care for you? Why not rest now in the quiet truth that life is already enough, just as it is? Gratitude is the antidote to the illusion of someday. It grounds us in what's real, because the more you thank life for what you have, the more you realize that everything you seek has already been given. When you release the illusion of someday, you stop running after mirages and start walking with presence. You begin to enjoy the journey, not just the destination. Each step becomes sacred, each breath a small homecoming. True peace is not found when everything is perfect. It's found when you stop waiting for perfection. It's the quiet joy of being fully here, in this very moment, knowing that nothing is missing. So breathe. Feel your body. Feel this moment. Life isn't waiting for you somewhere in the future. It's happening now. And when you realize that, someday finally disappears, because now is enough. After learning to let go of the illusion of someday, there is one more subtle attachment we all face: the habit of comparing ourselves with others. It creeps in quietly, disguised as motivation or self-evaluation. But behind every comparison hides a quiet suffering, the feeling that I am not enough as I am. And so, we now move to the next part of our journey, letting go of comparison, because every path is unique. From a young age, we are taught to measure our worth against others. Someone is more successful, more beautiful, more loved, more confident. We scroll through perfect images, achievements, and smiles. And somewhere inside, a voice whispers, "You should be more like them." That whisper becomes the chain that binds us to endless dissatisfaction. But comparison is a game we can never win. When we think we are better, the ego grows arrogant. When we think we are worse, the ego sinks into shame. Both lead to the same place: disconnection, because whether inflated or deflated, the ego is still obsessed with itself. Buddha's teaching on anatta, non-self, reminds us that there is no fixed me or you. We are all fluid expressions of countless causes and conditions, changing moment by moment. To compare two beings is like comparing two clouds, both beautiful, both moving, both temporary. What sense is there in saying one cloud is better? Imagine a forest. The oak does not envy the pine, and the bamboo does not wish to be a rose. Each grows according to its nature, nourished by the same sunlight, expressing the same life in its own form. You too have your own rhythm, timing, and path. No one else can walk it for you, and no one else can walk it like you. The mind that constantly compares lives in scarcity, always looking outward, never resting inward. But peace blooms the moment you turn your gaze inward and recognize, I am not in competition, I am in evolution. You are not late, you are not behind. You are exactly where your journey needs you to be right now. In Buddhist wisdom, there is a beautiful practice called mudita, sympathetic joy. It means feeling genuine happiness for the success or happiness of others. When we rejoice in the joy of others, our heart expands instead of contracts. Envy dissolves, replaced by compassion and connection. You begin to understand their light does not dim yours. It helps you see how bright you can also shine. Try this reflection. Whenever jealousy arises, pause and breathe. Ask yourself, what if their success is simply life showing me what's possible? In that shift of perspective, competition transforms into inspiration. Letting go of comparison doesn't mean losing ambition. It means rooting your growth in self-awareness, not self-judgment. You can still aim high, but from a place of love, not lack. When you honor your unique path, your actions flow naturally, free from the weight of comparison. The truth is, peace doesn't come when you become the best. It comes when you stop needing to be. It's the deep knowing that your worth has never been on trial. It was always whole, always enough. So breathe. Feel the ground beneath you. There is no finish line, no race to win. There is only this step, this breath, this unfolding moment of your own sacred journey. When you release comparison, you return to authenticity, to the quiet confidence of simply being yourself. And in that space, peace finds you again. And now, as we come to the end of this reflection, take a breath. Not the kind of breath you take without thinking, but one that truly fills you, awakens you. Because in this simple act of breathing, you are already home. Peace was never waiting for you in the future. Not after success, not after forgiveness, not after everything is perfect. It has always lived quietly inside you, beneath the noise, beneath the striving, beneath the endless shoulds. The more you tried to grasp life, the more it slipped through your fingers. But the moment you loosen your grip, everything begins to settle, just like muddy water that clears only when left still. Letting go is not weakness. It's returning to what has always been true. When you release control, comparison, attachment, and the need to be understood, you begin to see nothing was missing. You were simply too busy holding on to notice the beauty that was already here. This is the paradox of peace. The less you chase it, the closer it comes. It's not found in having everything figured out, but in allowing life to be what it is, uncertain, changing, imperfect, yet sacred. So right now, take one more deep breath. Feel it, this moment, this stillness, this quiet miracle of being alive. You don't have to fix anything. You don't have to prove anything. You only have to be. The Buddha once said, "Peace comes from within. Do not seek it without." And maybe that's the greatest teaching of all, that the more we let go, the more we return to ourselves. If these words touch something in you, take a moment to share in the comments below. What is one thing you're ready to let go of today? Your reflection might be the light someone else needs to find their own peace. And if this journey resonated with your heart, I invite you to stay with us. Because in the next videos, we'll continue walking together through the path of mindfulness, compassion, and awakening. One breath, one insight, one gentle step at a time. Let this be your quiet promise, not to chase peace anymore, but to live it. And as you leave, may your heart be light, your mind be still, and your spirit in free.